Here is my honest and comprehensive Bose QuietComfort versus QuietComfort Ultra comparison review. Today we're going to score these on every single category such as sound quality, noise cancelling performance, comfort, and more to find out which is better. Hey there, Odie from RecordingNow.com. We're on a mission to build the most comprehensive database of honest, unbiased headphone wireless earbud reviews, head-to-head comparisons, and overall rankings to help you make more informed purchase decisions and get the best value for your money. Did you know you can save up to $100 or more on either of these models by shopping for renewed or used in excellent condition? Links to where you can save money will be in the description and in a pinned comment below. Visit recordingnow.com or Google Recording Now to see all of our headphone content and more comparisons. Okay, so let's start with comfort. As the name suggests, both of these headphones are in Bose's QuietComfort series, so comfort is definitely at the forefront. Now I'll say both of these headphones are some of the most comfortable that I have tested. In fact, the QuietComfort 2023 weighed in at 236.1 grams, which is pretty much the lightest headphone in this class, with the Ultra weighing just slightly higher at 254 grams. Now, both of these headphones are extremely comfortable and I can wear them for hours without issue. But if I had to lean towards one, it would be the QC Ultra. The reason why is because if we look here at the headband and at the ear pad material, it's actually a bit more plush and supportive when you're wearing these back to back. Just to emphasize the headband of the QuietComfort 2023, you can actually see here that for one, it doesn't actually cover the entire headband like the QC Ultra does. It's only just this topmost portion. Secondly, when you press down, you can actually see how it hits this harder portion underneath the headband, whereas in the QC Ultra, you can see it's all just cushioning. Now, the ear pads are not as much of a difference as the headband, but still the QuietComfort Ultra is more plush back to back. Now, if I never wore the Ultra back to back with the regular QuietComfort, I would give these a perfect score. They're really that comfortable, but ultimately the QC Ultra does edge it out. So for comfort, I'm giving the QuietComfort 2023 a 4.5 out of 5. And the QC Ultra a perfect 5 out of 5 as it is the most comfortable wireless noise cancelling headphone in this class that I have tested to date. Okay, so let's move on to the category of features, build quality, battery life, and noise cancelling performance, which we'll combine into a single score. So starting with features, I want to highlight what you're going to receive with both of these headphones, which is going to include these really nice compact hard shell cases, which are roughly around the same size. You can really tell that Bose creates their product for the frequent flyer or the frequent commuter, which I personally love. You're going to get the stereo and charging cable with both of these headphones. And overall, I really love how these collapse as well to save extra space. Now, talking about the feature differences between these headphones, they were released roughly around the same time towards the end of 2023. So they actually share more of the same features than not. The one feature that the QC Ultra has over the regular QuietComfort is their version of spatial audio, which is immersive audio. And in my opinion, that is really not a deal breaker because one, I think the immersive audio is a little gimmicky compared to Apple's spatial audio, for example. But then secondly, I just don't think spatial audio is even a deal breaker to begin with, as I usually like to listen to my music with it off. Anyways, these both have multiple microphones for taking calls. Now, one thing about features that I do want to highlight that I think is actually really underrated that I prefer on the QuietComfort 2023 is the use of these physical tactile buttons for controlling your music and your volume. Probably one of the few glaring flaws of the QC Ultra is this volume rocker, which relies on touch. Much like touch controls on pretty much every headphone I've tested, I'm not a fan of them. This volume rocker especially is really hard to control, so you actually end up going many steps above or below, and you can't just incrementally go up or down single steps like you can with these dedicated volume adjust buttons. Simply put, headphones are not meant to be an iPhone, so they should really have physical buttons such as this also on and off switch, which I really do love because it's really easy and clear when the headphone is turned on, when it's off, because it has a dedicated button. The QC Ultra, just to show you an example, you hold this down to turn them on, and if you want to turn them off, you hold the same button again, and you'll see this blink once. I wish it would turn red like the Momentum 4 to give you more indication that they're actually off. But anyways, from a user experience perspective, the QuietComfort wins here. Now let's talk about build quality. So handling both of these headphones, I would say that build quality is really a strength of these Bose headphones. So the QC Ultra, being a $400 plus retail headphone, initially seemed a little cheap because of the plastic that it uses throughout the exterior. But when I'm actually using these headphones and handling them, and when you look here on the hinges especially, you can clearly see they're using metal in the places where it counts, and honestly these feel actually pretty solid despite the materials being not that premium like the AirPods Max, for example. But here on the QuietComfort 2023, this is the classic QuietComfort design, from the swivel hinges to the metal headband underneath. This is a tested and proven design that has proven to be durable over time, and I really have no qualms about this. So build quality is pretty excellent for both headphones, although the QC Ultra could use a little more premium material. Moving on to battery life, these both are rated at 24 hours, and in my testing that seemed to be pretty accurate. 24 hours of battery life is about average, I'd say. Something like the Sennheiser Momentum 4 is the class leader here with 60 hours of battery life, but then you have the AirPods Max, which is only 20 hours on a single charge, and then the XM5 and XM4 are rated at 30 hours. Now let's talk about the Bose QuietComfort versus QuietComfort Ultra noise canceling performance, which is probably something a lot of people are interested in. Now, this is an area that really shocked me about the QuietComfort 2023, because thinking that this is the cheaper model, I was expecting a drop down in both sound quality and in noise canceling performance. But to my surprise, the noise canceling actually felt identical to the more expensive QC Ultra. They're both using the same smartphone app. They both have around 11 levels of adjustability between full transparency and full active noise canceling mode, without the option to turn it off, unfortunately. And they both feature Wind Block, which is a new active noise canceling feature that is supposed to actively filter out wind when you're outside. So right now, I do think the QC Ultra, the QuietComfort 2023, and the Sony XM5 have the best active noise canceling out there. To my ear, it is pretty identical between the QuietComfort and the Ultra. And if it's not identical, then it's really, really, really close. So overall, for this category of the features, build quality, battery life, and noise canceling performance, I'm giving both headphones a perfect 5 out of 5. Now let's move on to sound quality, and this is where things get really exciting. So the first note that I want to make is I found that using the customizable EQ on the Bose app and spending time to tweak these settings, I've come up with custom personalized EQ for both of these headphones that I've uploaded to the website. And so far, the feedback on those EQ settings on YouTube has been extremely positive. So thank you guys for your feedback, and I'm so glad that you're enjoying these headphones more. That said, I'm first going to talk about the stock sound before we move on to EQ. So out of the box, I actually prefer the sound of the QuietComfort 2023 versus the Ultra. To put it simply, the Ultra needs a lot of EQ and a rather extreme EQ to get the best out of it, whereas the regular QuietComfort has a more pleasing sound right out of the box that doesn't really need as much touch-up. This is a more consumer-friendly sound that has a very strong emphasis on the bass and the treble, and it has much more bass slam and impact and quantity, which makes it a better consumer headphone than the Ultra. But now let's talk about applying these custom EQ settings, where I tried my best to get the absolute most out of both of these headphones. For my listening preference, which tends to be more balanced, I like to hear more detail. And overall, I tried to emulate more of the audiophile high-end headphones. Now, the EQ settings do change from time to time, and I actually just updated them last week, so check the website full blog post to see the latest settings. Now, for the QuietComfort, I actually thought these had a little bit too much bass and a little bit of peaky treble, which was creating some sibilance, along with having the vocals sounding quite distant. So the EQ really brings out the mids, and it tames that bass, tames that shrilly treble, and overall just gives a very pleasing, warm, balanced sound that still has a ton of bass, even more than the QC Ultra with or without EQ. Now the Ultra, on the other hand, I was able to dial in what I consider a very audiophile, balanced, and hyper detailed sound that fixes all of the issues with the stock sound profile, which I was actually super underwhelmed with, to be honest. I listened to them briefly. They were way too overpowering in the bass versus the mids and the treble, and honestly, they just weren't that pleasing to listen to out of the box. But after applying the EQ, these did turn into one of the most audiophile headphones in this class, if not the most audiophile headphone, at least compared against the Sennheiser Momentum 4, the Apple AirPods Max. These really surprised me, but only after applying a rather extreme EQ. So between these two headphones, the more fun headphone to me is clearly the QuietComfort, which I do reach for when I'm just trying to listen to bass or modern music. Now, I will say the QC Ultra is clearly more audiophile as far as the soundstage, the separation, the details, the micro details, and the nuances. Definitely the QC Ultra after the EQ is in a different league compared to the QuietComfort. But for a consumer headphone, the QuietComfort still has a pleasing amount of detail that even an audiophile would enjoy. The Ultra definitely has more depth when it comes to the soundstage, and this translates to a more immersive experience, not just for listening to music, but if you're watching TV shows, movies, playing video games. I actually really enjoy using the QC Ultra. That said, if you weren't listening to them back to back and you couldn't hear that extra amount of detail and sound quality from the Ultra, most consumers would be more than happy with the regular QuietComfort. Okay, so to give a score for sound quality, I'm giving the QuietComfort 2023 a strong 8.4 out of 10 after EQ, but the QuietComfort Ultra really is in a higher tier if we're looking at this critically, and I'm giving them an 8.9 out of 10 after EQ, which is incredible for a wireless Bluetooth noise canceling headphone. Okay, so let's move on to talk about value and price. So at the current market prices, the Ultra is roughly around $80 more expensive than the regular QuietComfort. Looking at some prices here, anywhere from $429, which is the full retail, to actually as low as $349 brand new today. Whereas the QuietComfort retails at $349 and can be found for as low as $249 brand new. If you look renewed, you can find the QuietComfort for even cheaper, closer to that $200 mark. All right, so the QC Ultra being $80 more expensive, what are you getting in return? First, I would say slightly more comfort. Although I could wear the QuietComfort 2023 all day pretty much without any issues. You're getting that higher end audiophile sound quality, although that might not be pleasing to everybody because that's more of a balanced, neutral sound, whereas the QuietComfort has that stronger bass with more impact. So overall, for around $80 more, personally, I still would reach for the QuietComfort Ultra myself, but I am someone who's a little bit more of an audiophile. I do like having that balance and super detailed sound where you can hear every little thing in the background, such as ad-libs and echoes. But if I had to use the QuietComfort 2023, I would be getting roughly the same features and active noise canceling performance as the QC Ultra, with a stronger bass impact and a more consumer sound that is super fun as well. It's just a different flavor. So overall, for value, I'm actually giving the QuietComfort 2023 a 4.5 out of 5 on account that it's basically 90% of the QC Ultra, and in some ways it's superior for most consumers. And I'm going to give the QC Ultra a 4 out of 5 because I still think as an overall package, this is better. It has world-class comfort, world-class noise canceling, and world-class sound quality, especially after applying that EQ. But if we're looking at that $429 price, it is a little steep, so I think a 4 out of 5 is fair here. And if you can find the QuietComfort 2023 for around $249, then I just think that that is probably the best headphone under $250 right now today. All right, so tallying up the overall scores, the Bose QuietComfort 2023 receives a 9 out of 10, which is one of the highest scores we've given out. But the QuietComfort Ultra receives a slightly higher 9.2 out of 10, which is actually the highest score we've given out in this class of Bluetooth wireless noise canceling headphones. So just to summarize, both of these headphones scored extremely well in pretty much every single category. These wireless noise canceling headphones are getting so good today, but the biggest surprise to me was the sound quality, because historically Bose has not been known for sound quality versus its competitors. But I think with this recent line, and I will say adding in that custom personalized EQ really turned things up, especially for the Ultra, which almost was unlistenable to me stock, to be honest. I was shocked what was hiding underneath that really horrible stock tuning from the factory. You can't really lose. I'd be happy as a clam with either of these headphones. It just depends on the sale price. If these are $349, I'd probably buy the QC Ultra. But if this is $249, then this is the better value dollar for dollar, especially if you're not really that audiophile. Now, if you have any questions about these two headphones or any of the headphones on the website, because I've covered pretty much all of their popular competitors, leave in the comments below. I try to get back to as many people as possible. If you found this video useful, you can help support by giving the video a thumbs up and also subscribing and hitting the notification bell. If you love music and if you love audio, we're cranking out a lot of new content this year. Once again, there's links to where you can save up to $100 or more in the video description or in a pinned comment below. I highly recommend you at least price shop and compare just to see what's out there. And lastly, visit recordingnow.com to see all of our comparisons. You can use the search bar at the top of the website to search up any model or comparison. You can also just type into Google recording now. Thanks for watching and happy listening.